Our special coverage of the 5th Strategic and Economic Dialogue here in Washington. Of course, we're talking about that tonight. Special attention already been given to climate change. Both countries have agreed on 5 new initiatives to combat greenhouse gas emissions and develop new technology. Let's join Nathan King live at the site of these talks. That's the U.S. State Department. Nathan.
That's right, Mike. Following on from that shirt-sleeve summit in California between President Xi and Obama, where they agreed to cut hydrofluorocarbons to an equivalent amount of 2 years of the joint output of both countries, this 5-point plan, Green Plan, goes even deeper and also seems to put aside the finger-pointing of the past, where the U.S. was labeled the world's biggest polluter, China a gobbler of natural resources as it raced to development. This more mature approach, if implemented, is meant to have a global impact. Around the table, China and the US, who between them account for nearly half of the world's emission of greenhouse gases. This new plan aims to put both countries at the forefront of energy conservation and transformation. The goals: cut emissions from heavy-duty and other vehicles using fuel efficiency targets and efficient vehicles. Capture emissions from coal plants using new technology. Together, the US and China amount to over 40% of global coal consumption. Increase energy efficiency in buildings, industry and transport. Buildings alone account for over 30% of energy use in both countries. And improving data collection on greenhouse gas emissions to help plan for better climate change policy. And lastly, promoting smart power grids. Energy grids themselves account for over 30% of carbon emissions. Making them more efficient will pay off. With record high temperatures and increasingly severe weather events in the US, plus pollution concerns rising in Beijing, both countries are aiming to become leaders, no longer laggards, on climate change.
How will we curb climate change? How will we pioneer new energy technology, which is, in fact, the response to climate change? Energy policy is the solution to climate change.
Both China and the United States see ourselves as the biggest emitters, so we need to cooperate on climate change that is conducive to everyone.
This new joint US-Chinese plan, of course, is ambitious and will take decades of commitment to implement fully. But the plan is being seen here as an example of how, when the world's 2 biggest economies work together, they can have a potential effect on a global scale. You know, diplomats here are saying this agreement on climate change really is pointing to a maturing of a relationship. And it's really interesting that at the outset of the U.S. strategic and economic dialogue, Vice Premier Wang Yang has said, you know, decades ago we used to call each other names. I'm not going to detail them on the air because they were pretty specific and could offend Chinese and American audiences alike. He said now we're not doing that. We've learned that that doesn't work. We're looking for a more mature relationship. So we've had progress on climate change. If everything went along the same way this week, I think it would be labelled a big success indeed. We'll have to wait and see.
Nathan, this does come at a somewhat tense time, though. I mean, with the Snowden disclosures, and there's been some back and forth on a number of various issues. Set the tone for us, though. Do the discussions seem friendly?
Yeah, they do seem friendly, actually, and also connected. People know each other here. They've built up relationships in the past. Joe Biden said that he has met a number of times with officials. John Kerry has built up relations over the years as well. John Kerry had an emotional moment when he talked about his wife being hospitalized. You know, that's why he's leaving the talks early. And he said he got lots of messages of support from the delegation and seemed to get very emotional about it. And, you know, we're going to talk more about this in the program, but if there's a prize to be handed out for the person who's cracking the most jokes, I think it'll be Vice Premier Wang Yang. He really seems to be reveling in this up-close and personal way of doing business.
Nathan King live for us at the State Department. Thanks so much, and of course you'll be back in the next hour as well.